Okay, students, so I'm going to walk you through a real quick presentation of how to find an exponential function that models these premiums as a function of age with a calculator. So let's start off, we're going to use our TI83 or 84 plus. Remember, those of y'all that have an 83, I'll show you just a little bit slight difference on one part, but everything else will be pretty much the same as the 84s. So we're going to start by hitting the Stat button and Edit. We're going to input everything into our list. Okay, couple of things to make sure of is make sure that the list is identical to the one that you have here. So as you guys can see, one of the biggest things is I need to make sure that everything does line up perfectly. If these don't line up, you're going to have an error of mismatched dimensions. The other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not missing any of the data. So double check all of your data before you do the next step. So once you've done that, you're going to hit Stat. You're going to arrow over to the Calculate menu, and then you're going to scroll down. Again, the problem says exponential. So I'm going to scroll until I see EXP-reg. Okay. As you see there, I found it, EXP-reg. I'm going to hit Enter. Now, this is the point where the TI-83s and the 84s do slightly vary. Those that have a TI-84, you see this beautiful list of menu that kind of asks you to fill everything out. So you're going to say X list is list 1, Y list is in list 2. And then the store reg, okay, frequency list should be blank always, but the store reg, it's an optional thing. You can choose to do it or not. If you choose to do it, go ahead and hit alpha trace. Okay, alpha F4 is actually what we're looking for. And I'm going to plug this into Y1. And then I'm just going to click Calculate. Okay, those of y'all that have a TI-83, you're going to hit this, and it should come up with list 1, list 2 already there. But if it doesn't, you'll need to type in list 1, comma, list 2. And if you, again, an optional thing, if you want to go ahead and put it in Y equals, you can say comma. And then this is where you have to go vars, arrow over to Y vars, number 1 for function, and then plug it into Y1. And then enter to execute. And this is, again, where the TI-83 and 84 come back together. And you should say, see this screen where it says Y equals A times B to the power of X. Again, do remember A and B are listed right here below it. And you do need to make sure that when you are doing this, that you go ahead and actually round to whatever the problem says. So it's normally about 3 to 4 decimal places. But again, read each problem very particularly about this. Now I'm going to graph this equation, our exponential function, along with the scatter plot. So remember, second Y equals takes me to the scatter plot. I'm going to turn it on by hitting Enter for stat plot 1. And it says off right now, so I'm going to hit Enter with on. Okay. And it's got the little scatter plot selected. List 1 and list 2 is selected. And then we also have our type of marker that we would like, and then the color. Okay. Now remember, those of y'all that have like a TI-83 or an old school TI-84 that doesn't have a color, it's going to all just be in black and white, which is perfectly fine. Those of y'all that have color, sometimes it's a bit of fun to play with it a bit. Okay. So I'm just going to change my color to magenta here. And then everything is already in. So I'm going to go into Y equals, and I noticed that already in Y equals, I have that typed equation. Now remember, you are welcome to type this equation in yourself. But if you went ahead and put that comma Y1, if you're a TI-83er, and if you're the 84 in that regression model that you were able to put it in to save the equation, and when we put it in for Y1, that's where it went. Okay. And remember, hit zoom 9 so the calculator can do its kind of zooming and auto tune where it is. And it goes, okay, there it is. And the little pink dots, the magenta ones that you see here, there's the scatter plot. And then the blue line is that line that we found, that model, exponential model. And we see that it actually does do pretty close. Now, the further away we get here, it doesn't model as perfectly. So these ones, 70 and 75 years, it's a little harder to model, but we do see that it works pretty well. So the more data we have, I bet you the better it will actually be. Okay. Again, students, this is how you actually find an exponential function, or also known as exponential regression.